Hi, hello, I'm Marina, that one girl that likes to talk a lot about houseplants, and welcome to Millennial Plant. So today I thought I would do sort of like a plant vlog slash giving tips on how I deal with such a large collection slash things that have just helped me as a plant parent in general. There's a few things that have just really been crucial in helping my indoor jungle thrive. So that's what we're going to cover today. Definitely let me know in the comments what sort of things or tips you do to help your indoor jungle thrive. Maybe we can all learn something from each other. I'm sure there's something that one of you guys out there are doing that I'm not doing that will help me out a lot, because let's all face it, with life and with a lot of plants, it can just get a little bit overwhelming sometimes. And any sort of like hack or even gadget, because I'm going to be sharing a few sort of like gadget things as well, can really make a difference in your day-to-day life. But before we get into the video, if you haven't already subscribed, you're watching a plant video, so I know you like plants. I talk a lot about plants, like a lot about houseplants. So why not help propagate this community with me? Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and also just give the video a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Let me know how you like it, and it really helps out my channel. So let's get on into the planting things. So first off, my mornings start around like 6 o'clock in the morning, which as a night person is just ridiculously early, but I have to get the kids ready for school. But the first thing that I'll do is I'll come into the plant room and I'll turn on this one grow light I have. It's actually a new grow light from Vivo Sun, and it is the only grow light I don't have on a timer. The rest of my grow lights are all on timers, so they come on around 8 o'clock in the morning, but the Vivo Sun I have to manually turn off and turn on, just because, you know, I just got it and I don't have any more timers, so I'm just gonna order them whenever I get a chance, and soon that one will be on a timer as well. So the first thing I want to say about this topic is grow lights. Grow lights have made such a huge difference in my planting game, my indoor jungle. And the main reason being is because my house is very dark. I don't have a lot of windows, and the windows I do have are heavily shaded either by a really big tree. I have a lot of big trees in my front yard or in my back. My back is just completely covered. So like everything is like super shaded. I get very little natural light. It's honestly kind of depressing. Definitely something to mark down for my forever home. I need more natural light just for my happiness. Me and grow lights, we are besties at this point. I have been using grow lights for I think 3 out of the 5-ish, 4-ish years I've been collecting plants. So a big majority of the time I have been using grow lights, and I use so many different kinds. I use grow strips, I use those spotlight grow lights, I use a garage light, believe it or not. I use grow panels. Just any kind of grow lights I can get my hands on, I use. Besides those Amazon ones with all the crazy arms, I honestly hate those, and for them to be effective, they have to be really close up to the plant, and they just take up a lot of floor space, and I don't have a lot of floor space in my plant. So I will have a whole bunch of grow lights linked down below, but quickly I'll just show you what I use. So my grow strips, I use the Barina T5. I think they're the T5s. They are actually one of the most popular grow light options out there. Honestly, they are okay, if I'm being honest. Like, they get the job done, but your plants do really need to be really close to the lights for them to be effective. I've realized grow panels are actually my favorite. I actually have 4 grow panels because I have one in my grow tent, and they are all by far the brightest grow lights that I have. I have to keep my plants a pretty good distance away from them so they don't burn, but that's also good for when you have big plants. You know, you can only keep plants in a small shelf area for a certain amount of time before they outgrow that area. So grow panels are amazing. I have the new Vivo Sun one that I was just talking about. I think it's around $60, but then I have other ones that are around $30-ish that are also really effective. effective and really great. I will say though, the Vivo Sun has just been absolutely amazing. I'm actually shocked at how fast my plants have responded to that grow light. I haven't even had my plants under there for a full month, and I'm seeing so much new growth, especially for my Hoyas. And it is like new growth, not growth that was already there and is coming out, but no, it's like straight on just full new growth. It's insane. And then I also have the spotlight grow light things that are really good for like hanging on the ceiling. Those can be kind of a hassle to attach if you can't attach them to like the ceiling or a wall, but they are really effective for like bigger, taller plants, or if you have like a bamboo shelf like this and you can't put grow strips anywhere, those spotlight pendant lights are really good. I have the one up here from Houseplants, and this one is actually pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's the strongest, but it definitely gets the job done, and my plants do grow really well under there, so no complaints here. And then as far as my garage light, it is by far my cheapest one, and it's actually pretty effective. I bet my plants would probably grow a little bit faster if I used an actual grow light, but the garage light puts out a lot of lumens, which is a huge factor in searching for lights. I think it's like 6,000 lumens or something like that. I've had propagations under there, just all sorts of different plants over the past 3 years, and they've really done the job. It's pretty crazy. I actually heard somebody talking about it on Instagram. I don't remember who. And so that's kind of where I heard about that whole garage light. Some people think it looks like a flower, and it kind of does. It's pretty cool. It's a little different than your standard grow light. So now this next product gadget thing is really like the kind of the inspiration behind this video, because getting this thing was such a huge game changer in my planting game, let me tell you. And it is Bluetooth anything. So the first thing I got was the Bluetooth plugins, and I use this app. It's a Govee app. They're Govee plugins, and you're able to set your plugs, your timers on different times. So every morning my plants come on at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then they go off at 10 p.m. at night. Every day on a timer by themselves, all set on my app, on the phone. And I'm able to manually turn them on and turn them off if I need to turn them off for some whatever reason. I know during the summertime when it was like really hot, upstairs in my house gets super hot, so I would just manually turn them off during the hottest hours of my day so my plants weren't baking. And I was just able to do it in the app. I didn't have to come upstairs. I didn't have to turn off extension cords. This plant is itching my head. Makes me feel like I have a spider on me. But being able to control everything on an app has just been absolutely amazing, because for the longest time I was plugging in every single grow light, and let me just tell you, that was just annoying. And my plants didn't have a consistent schedule, because I am not a consistent person. Me and consistency do not go hand in hand. So now they are on a consistent schedule. I'm able to control the amount of light they get, how many hours of light they're getting. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing, you guys. If you don't have these for your grow lights, get them, because I promise you, your world will be changed forever. And it's super easy to install. Just connect it to your phone. So the next Bluetooth thing that really changed my life was a Bluetooth humidifier. So I have the Levoit humidifier. Actually, my mom ordered it for me, and I was kind of like skeptical about it. I was like, I don't need this fancy humidifier, but whew, I was so wrong. So once again, another thing, I'm able to put on a timer. So every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, it turns on automatically. I don't even have to think about it. It's amazing. And then throughout the day, I just manually turn it on or turn it off whenever I want. I don't really have my humidifier running all day. I will usually run it maybe twice a day, but it's definitely turning on once a day. And in that app, I'm also able to control the amount of moisture it's getting. So it has like a percentage, I think it's from like 0 to 100% of how much you want your humidifier to humidify. And then you're able to set the timer manually if you want to just like manually turn it on and turn it on for 2 hours at 75%. It'll do that for you, all from the comfort of wherever you are. If you are in the grocery store and you're like, you know what, it's a pretty dry day, let me turn on my humidifier, or let me turn on my grow lights, or turn off my grow lights. Like, y'all, Bluetooth is just, it's a game changer for your planting journey, let me tell you. I know I already said that, but it helps so much. So that was definitely a really fun thing to have, an amazing thing to have. Now, my next tip is a little specific to certain people, and it is people that are overwaterers, like me. So what has really helped me in my overwatering journey is first understanding my pot. There's a point in my life where I was putting everything in terracotta because terracotta absorbs a lot of moisture, and I mean, I was just rotting everything, you guys, everything. And soil did have a lot to do with that, but also there are certain types of pots. Even now, being more mindful of my overwatering tendencies, I still occasionally rot plants that I have in ceramic, so I try to very sparsely use ceramic. For the most part, it's just terracotta pots and slotted plastic orchid pots that have really just been a game changer for me as an overwaterer. But if you're on the other hand of that and you're an underwaterer, then maybe go for the ceramic and go for the plastic pots because they hold on to a lot of moisture. Let me tell you. And my number one tip for an overwaterer is just to get more plants, because it really does help. I mean, eventually you just can't water all the plants all the time. So take this as a sign to buy a new plant. I don't know. Take it as you will. But also in this journey, I have found myself being more and more drawn towards euphorbias, cacti. Still a foliage girl, don't get me wrong, but I really do like them, especially the euphorbias, the astrophytum, the cacti. They just are so funky, and I really love that. And one thing that has helped me is keeping them at the top shelf of my grow rack in the farthest part of it, so I can't reach them every day, and I'm not looking at them every day. I mean, I can look at them, but a lot of times I'm too lazy to go and reach for the pot because it's so tall and it's so far back, so I water them way less, and it has worked a lot. It has really helped save a lot of my euphorbia from overwatering, which was really hard. There was a time where I was probably killing a euphorbia like every week, every month. I killed a huge African milk tree one, you know, like the huge ones you get at Home Depot, from overwatering it. Like, it just completely turned to mush. It was absolutely disgusting. So if you are an overwaterer, definitely try that out. Get the plants and just move them to an area you won't see them. Or maybe you can take a really like moisture loving plant like a peace lily or something and put that in your eye view and put the other plants behind it so you see the peace lily more and you want to water that one more, you know? Also, while we're on the topic of watering, another thing that I really just love to do, and it saves a lot of time, is grouping all my plants together when I water them. So a lot of times I will take my plants to my bathtub and I will water them all at once. So I'm kind of wiping down the leaves. I'm dusting them in a way because that water that's hitting them, like I'll just let my shower run on them for probably like 10 minutes, not that long, maybe like 5 minutes. Just enough so the foliage is getting wet and it's kind of getting dust free, because a lot of pests, especially spider mites, are attracted to dust. And for my smaller plants that I'm not really comfortable with putting in the bathtub or getting hit by that shower head water, I put them all together in a tub. I got these 2 tubs from the dollar store, so $1.25. It's not the dollar store anymore. And I water them all in these tubs. So it also gives me a moment to kind of look at the foliage to make sure there's no yellowing leaves, or to make sure nothing looks really funky, because I'm grouping them all together. I'm able to like just quickly glance over them, you know. And I take my watering can and I will also just pour water all over the leaves, so it's also kind of that same shower head effect and sort of in a way dusting the plant foliage as well. It actually is pretty effective because my plants don't really accumulate much dust, if at all. Maybe my bigger plants that I don't water as often, they'll probably get a little bit dusty just because they're not getting the water that often. But that has really just been a game changer, especially on watering day. Watering day can be really hectic, but just pulling all my plants from the shelves and putting them in these tubs watering them all at once and just letting them sit there for a few minutes is really just awesome. Also, another thing with watering is I actually learned this from Becca de la Plants. She has this kind of like tip where she has plants that are signed. So when you have a large collection, you really realistically can't water all of the plants in a day. Like I don't even know how many plants I have, somewhere between 100 and 500 plants. I cannot water them all at once. I mean, that would be physically impossible, especially when you consider life. What she does and what she has talked about, and I feel like I kind of did this but never really thought about it, is you will have one plant on a shelf, and when that one plant looks thirsty, you realize, oh, I haven't watered that shelf in a while. So that's kind of your key to let you know that you need to water that specific part of your plant shelf or your plant room or your plant corner. I know for my philodendrons and stuff, I have a whole shelf of philodendrons, a whole shelf of Hoyas, and I know if one philodendron looks thirsty, then I need to, for the most part, water all the plants on that shelf. And the same for my Hoyas. If I have Hoya leaves that are looking a little bit crinkly, then I know it's time to water my Hoyas, and that's much more manageable than watering everybody all at once. Now, the next thing that really helps me in my planting journey, my everyday plant life, is batch making my soil. I remember there was a time where I would sort of just pull my soil and all my amendments and kind of just make the soil in the pot I'm gonna plant the plant in. Yes. That was really weird to say. But once again, I got a bin, I think maybe from the dollar store. I think it was around $5. It was super inexpensive, and I batch make all my soil, and it is amazing. I can pot up so many plants without having to worry about making more soil, because making soil is very time consuming, especially when you have to wait for your coco coir to break down. But yes, another really game-changing thing. And also just buying stuff in bulk if you can. It's really, I know bulk can be really expensive, but I usually buy my coco coir bricks in packs of 3. I also buy big bottles of fertilizer, and it lasts forever. So not having to think about, when am I gonna buy this again? When do I need to replenish this and this? Just buying like bulk stuff really just makes it last forever. And it's one less thing to think about, because we all have enough stuff to think about and enough stuff on our minds. So my last and final tip for managing an indoor jungle is probably the most important, and that is to try to preemptively treat your plants as much as possible. And I am talking about in terms of pest management. I know it is not always possible, especially with a big collection, to sit there and spray down all of your leaves. But if you are taking the time to group your plants together and water them or spray them down, you can at least maybe like treat them with a systemic, or quickly just spray them down with some sort of horticultural spray, Captain Jack's Dead Bug Brew. Oh, try saying that 5 times fast. But any sort of preemptive treatment you can do really just makes a huge difference. I am a really big user of the benign systemic granules. They have just been absolutely amazing. A lot of people deal with spider mites. I deal with thrips. I get them probably once or twice a year, and every time the benign systemic just knocks them out completely. So me and Benign are like best friends. You know, Benign, if you ever see this and you want to sponsor me, hey. No, but any sort of pest management, even if it's wiping down the leaves like I mentioned earlier, really just helps, because once you get an outbreak and you have a really big collection and all the leaves are touching, it can be a real headache, and pests can spread really fast. So you get to a point in your plant journey where pests don't really bother you, and that's definitely where I am. Not talking about aphids though. I would be absolutely terrified if I ever got aphids. Ugh. But also any sort of preemptive treatment you can do to save yourself the problem later on really makes a difference. Also, you can also order predatory mites or green lacewing larvae. I've heard those have done really great things for people. It's actually something I'm really thinking about trying, because just the amount of plants that I have, I feel like predatory mites might be the best bet for me. But I don't know, you guys are just gonna have to stay tuned and see if I do that. I'm not going to do the ladybugs because I heard ladybugs really don't do much, but definitely the predatory mites and the green lace wing larva, right? That's what it's called, I think. And that brings me to the end of this quick tips video. I hope you were able to get some sort of insight from this. Hopefully I was able to give you a trick or two to help better your plant parenthood journey. And like I said, if there's any sort of tips you have for me, definitely leave them in the comments below because I will try anything to make this day-to-day easier. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you all are staying safe, sane, happy, and healthy, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.